Hey, Bodacious Beast, welcome back to my channel. My name is Scottyallenday. Today we are talking about something from the 80s, a blast from the past. Yeah, I got a note card here. I've been working really hard on this. And this is about gaming. Is 80s gaming better than today's gaming? Now, the thing is, this is my own personal opinion. This is nobody else's article, and I've got a lot to talk about on this. So stick with me to the end. If you're here for the first time, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. If I blunder and mess up, well, it's because it's something that I'm really truly excited about and I'm truly passionate about. Now, console gaming has overtaken just about everything right now. You plug it in, you hook it up to the internet, and you can play with people from around the world 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Which is great. It's fun. It's what console gaming has evolved into. But 80s gaming, in my opinion, was better than this. It was much better. And let me tell you why. Because of the fact is 99% of all the gaming was done in an arcade. It was done in a bowling alley. It was done at the skating rink. It was done at the cinema. It was not done sitting on your tush in the living room or in grandma's basement. It was not done that way. Basically, if you had a console back in the 80s, if you had a console game back in the 80s, all the way up until the 90s, your family had money. If you didn't have a console, your family did not have money. The only console that most people could be able to afford if you had a low income would be Pong. That's right. That would have been it. Bona fide Pong. Now, there were 3 games on that console at the very beginning of Atari. Before the cartridges were put in, you had Pong, you had some kind of a Knight Rider game, Asteroids, and Breakout, I believe. All on one console. That was before, and that was just after Pong was brought out. So, basically, what happened is, it evolved into something bigger, and they kept pushing it, and eventually it started going online, and then it exploded. But back in the 80s, arcades were awesome. They were magnificent. They were everywhere. And if you had a teenage nightclub and there was no video games in it, you had no business. If you had a large arcade, most of them had snack bars in there. And on Friday and Saturday night, they had DJs. Now, if you remember watching some of these 70s and the 80s and 90s movies where they had the jukebox blaring and somebody dancing at the pinball machine and that sort of thing, or even remembering what Footloose was. There's some guy dancing at the football machine, at the pinball machine, and at the arcade machine. That was it. That was reality. But it's true. They played all the top hits. That was advertising. That was advertising for the music industry, because the DJ played anything that was the most popular with the hits. If you walked into an arcade and you were a stoner, you were a skater, you were a preppy, you were a cheerleader, you were a nerd, you were a geek, a dweeb, a spaz, whatever, you were treated as one. When you walked into that room, you walked into that building, you were one class. You were a gamer. There was no race. There was nothing. You could be of any race and walk into an arcade back in the 80s, and you were treated just like everybody else. You were in there for one reason: to play games. Multiplayer games, the only way you could play a multiplayer game was in an arcade. Most of them were 2-player, with the exception if you wanted to play Gauntlet or Pinball, then you could go up to 4-player, and I think Gauntlet was 5-player. Later on, they had the Simpsons game, and I believe that was a 5-player game as well. So, That was the beginning. Now, if you wanted to play in a tournament, they had national tournaments, but 99% of all tournaments were local. The arcade would put on the tournament, and everybody would come and compete. They would have 9 Mario games going, or they would have 9 pinball machines going, or they would have whatever. And that was it. But the best thing about an arcade back in the 80s was if you scored a high score on something, you had the bragging rights. That was your trophy. You could go into school and say, hey, I beat the high score on Dig Dug. I beat the Pac-Man high score. I beat the high score on the Corvette pinball machine. Of course, the Corvette pinball machine was the most popular back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And even today, it sells for it is about the highest selling pinball machine that's out there. So, if you had a high score, until the power goes out, you owned that machine. Now, I had high scores in Moon Patrol, which was basically a drive and then shooter, and you jump over and it gets increasingly difficult. You had, and then I had high score on the Corvette pinball machine, and then I had a high score on R-Type. And I beat my high score multiple times on R-Type. That was the only game that I could put in 25 cents in, play for 45 minutes, not even putting another quarter in, and continue and play all the way to the end on R-Tape. That was difficult. That proved that you were a god on that machine. Now, if I were to go in and play R-Type again, I forgot all the shortcuts. I forgot all the different tricks and Easter eggs that I could be able to do to be able to beat the game. But give me about, well, most games now cost about $1 to play, so I'd probably have to dump about $100 in, and then I could start doing it again. But that was 45 minutes. I could walk into an arcade on a Friday night and play 45 minutes on one machine. And I'd have a crowd around me by the time I'm done. When you are scoring high on a game, there would be a crowd around you cheering you on. It was plain and simple. But 99% of all games were not easy. It's true. They were not easy. The only games that were easy were the ones that was giving you little pieces of candy. That was it. An arcade today, you're going in and playing for prizes. That's not an arcade. We were going in, we were playing Mario, we were playing Dig Dug, we were playing Space Invaders and Pac-Man and you name it, we played it. What else do I have on here? 2 games. Oh, yeah. I mean, 99% of all these, pretty much all the games cost 25 cents. All coin up, 25 cents. So I could go in on a $20 bill and play all night long. All night long. Let's see here. What about most games were in 8-bit graphics. 8-bit graphics. We didn't care if it was 3-dimensional graphics. 8-bit graphics, we were happy. I mean, and one of the big things about 80s gaming that most people don't realize is when you walked into that arcade, just about everybody was your friend. If you were just walking around and standing there watching a game and watching this one kid play, and you were out of money, you still had to wait for your mom and dad for the next hour. And there's a kid that's standing there playing a game, and he said, hey, want to join? And I say, well, I'm out of quarters. I burned through them too quick. Okay, I'll pay for you. I don't know how many times I've had a kid that said that. I don't know how many times that I paid it forward to kids that ran out of money. It was fun. It was a great way to make friends. Of course, when I was a teenager, I'd hang out with the smokers outside. And then we'd go back inside and we'd just game. It was awesome. But one of the best things about 80s gaming that I remember was they challenged your mind. But one of the greatest things about gaming, we did not see a stinking ad on a game while we were playing it. If somebody wanted to have an ad about Pepsi or Coca-Cola, it'd be on the wall on a poster. That was it. If somebody wanted to see an ad, it'd be on somebody's t-shirt, because that's what they like to drink. We did not have to worry about ads. Plus, we didn't have to worry about games being so dang easy that it gets boring. Some of these games you played when you were in an arcade, when you died, you died. That was it. There was nothing about it. When you ran out of lives, that was it. Start over. But I'm just giving you my 2 cents on gaming in the 80s. I think is much better than today's. Much better. But what do you guys think? Do you guys believe that 80s gaming was better, or today's gaming is better? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know. Tell me what today's gaming on a PlayStation 5, how that is much better experience than walking into an arcade. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see it. I want to do another video on this eventually. This was a fun video to make. I was so excited when I came in here to make the video. I've rehearsed it all night, and well, here it is. So let me know. Again, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss another video. Till next time, keep on walking.